How's it going, Tim?
It's going good, man. It's going good. It feels like we haven't talked in forever, but we've had such a good run, and then we had two off weeks within a span of a month and a half, a month.
Yeah, we had I don't know how long we were going hot there for, but it was three months probably, and then a little bit of a cold streak started with Tai Tuivasa. But I'm ready to get things back on track. I'm ready to put my life savings on Diego Lopez in a few weeks. Yeah, but that's for another day. This is an interesting card, but before we get into this one, did you see the card with Sarukian and Daryush? How stacked that card is?
Yeah, that's a pretty good card. I'm excited. They're putting together some really good fights.
Yeah, man, that entire card is like basically a hardcore MMA fan's dream. That thing is full of because we got. Let me go run to it quick. Here it is. We got Daryush Sarukian, Dan Hooker, Bobby Green, which, I mean, I feel like we're going to have to double down on Bobby Green again, maybe there. Rob Font, and then Davison Figueiredo's bantamweight debut. Sean Brady,
Yep.
Kelvin Gastelum, Khalil Roundtree, Asmat Mirzakhanov, Punahele Soriano versus Dustin Stolfus. Clay Guida's fighting. Misha Tate is fighting. What is this, man? Is this 2012 again? But we're getting some good fights on that card,
Yeah.
that main card.
There are. I mean, obviously the um, most important one is going to be the Sarukian Dariush, obviously, since that's the main fight. But
So,
there's implications with Bobby Green and Dan Hooker too, man, and same with Figgy making his debut up a weight class. So yeah, we shall see. And is this going to be the retirement fight for Clay Guida? He fooled everybody last time when he took his gloves off, so we'll see.
yeah, man, I was there in Kansas City when he took his gloves off, and everyone was freaking out in the arena. And then he just starts talking normal. And everyone's like, what the hell's going on? We didn't even know he faked it out until I got on Twitter later. And everyone's like, oh, he was faking it. We all just thought he actually retired.
Yeah.
Because we can't hear anything either. Like, you can't really hear their speeches very well. And nobody really knew.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, no, you can't really hear him because that was the same time that that weird guy who just fought. Who did he just fight? Alexander Hernandez. He just fought. I don't remember who he fought. But he like went full heel and started like yelling about how gross Kansas City is, which Kansas City is kind of gross. But and no one knew what he was saying, so he was like insulting everybody, but we just like couldn't understand his words. So everyone was like, "Why is he yelling?" It
Yeah.
was what the fuck was his name? He's got a weird name. I don't know. But anyways, man, Jalton Almeida, the guy that I think could be the next heavyweight goat or double champ sort of a deal, taking on Derek Lewis this week. We're gonna have a good card to break down. We're gonna finish off strong with that Almeida and Lewis fight. But first off, we've got. I'm gonna let you hit that name right there, Tim.
Um, all right, so to start off the first fight, we have Caio Fernandez versus Mark DeCasey. Um, this one is I'm a little bit surprised because you got to remember too, this card is going to be in Brazil. So the theme is, and it just happened. We just had the card in Saudi Arabia, which was a very Russian favorite type card. Um, and believe it or not, all the Russians won. So um, little trends like that. We had the one in Canada where we saw a lot of action on the Canada fighters, the Canadian fighters. So I think we're gonna have to stick with that same kind of mentality here when it comes to the scoring. If it goes to any kind of judge's decision, but they really want to put a show on for the home crowd, and they're trying to get more more people involved. So they want their fighters, their countrymen and countrywomen to win. So I'm gonna probably go not too crazy, but definitely a little Brazilian heavy on this card.
Interesting.
So and we started off, and this is going to be the first part of the Brazilian parlay for me. Is this kid Caio Fernandez? One kid um, going against Mark DeCasey, which we've seen. He's been around in the UFC. Um, he's very experienced. The whole thing is he's been on a funky little skid. So out of his last 5 fights, he's dropped three. Two of them are by submission, and one's by decision, and the other two, his wins are by decision as well. Whereas we go to Fernandez, who just came off a fight in March. He's got one loss, 4 wins by finish, right? By or knockout, TKO, and 2 wins by submission. So 6 of his 8 wins are by finish, uh, 2 decision wins, and a decision loss. This kid's a finisher. He was in LFA. He's got 2 knockouts in LFA. I think it's going to be a quick jump um, of a finish to start off this card. I think this is a perfect setup for it. A new up and comer, shine him up, get the Brazilian crowd going, and this should be at plus money. I'm not necessarily going to say it's going to be a finish, but I would definitely take the plus money on Caio Fernandez.
Yeah, man. I think I'm on the same way. The same. Ugh, English is hard sometimes. I think I'm on the same wavelength as you here. I think Casey is kind of just average at best, and Fernandez is fighting out of Enan Barrow's gym, Jose Aldo's gym. I think his takedown defense is going to be on par, and I think the only way Casey wins this fight is if he basically wrestle fucks Fernandez, because on the feet, Fernandez is flashy. I watched his 2 LFA wins, his last 2 fights on YouTube or whatever the fuck it was, some video service thing. And he's flashy, man. He's got some quick striking, and he's got some really, really good Muay Thai. And I think that's going to serve him well here against Diakese, who he's kind of been wrestling heavy lately. I think he's a little bit uncomfortable on the feet. I think he's gotten rocked a few times, and I think he's been around enough to know that he doesn't want to get hit. And I think that's going to kind of be his downfall here, which I see also on Twitter. The betting people are all over Diakese in parlays and stuff, and Diakese by decision, everyone is freaking out about because they think this guy's going to just go out there, take him down, and sit on him, which, it's possible. But the fight, each round is going to start standing up. And I think Fernandez is just going to be fighting like a bat out of hell those first minute, 2 minutes of each round. And I think he's going to do damage. And, I mean, like I said, he's training with guys who have pretty good takedown defense. And so I feel like his is going to be at least average, maybe not the best in the world, but at least average takedown defense. So I'm going Fernandez with you here. I think you're right. I think this guy's got a shot at being a decent prospect. In the UFC, I mean, just looking at this line, Diakese has been, heavy favorites over these guys who aren't in the UFC or are making their debut, and he's not a heavy favorite here. He's just a slight favorite. And I think that that's because the UFC and the matchmakers and the bookmakers are giving respect to Fernandez because they know he's a legit prospect and a decent guy. So I don't see why this isn't a good dog shot. So I'm with you on Fernandez here. All
Like I
right.
said, I think they wanna start it off with hometown guy, and it just lines up perfectly with the younger fighter and being the hometown guy. So I think that's the right move there.
I agree. This next one, I don't think I'm gonna have as much of a problem deciding, because I was kind of thinking Fernandez Diakese the past couple of days. It's kind of been a little back and forth in my brain, but this one, Montserrat Ruiz versus Eduarda Mora. I'm going with Eduarda Mora. Her nickname is Ronda. She's 9-0. She's a heavy favorite here. She's the Brazilian. And I watched Ruiz's last two fights against Joaquin or Jacqueline Amorim and Amanda Lemos, and I'm just not really impressed with her all around. Her Amanda Lemos fight, she got knocked out, but Amanda Lemos is obviously a beast. Before that, she beat Cheyenne Vlismas and some girl that I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. But I just think Mora is probably the better prospect here. They're both around, they're a year apart in age, so nothing crazy. Ruiz is 5 foot with a 61-inch reach, and I think that's pretty big here. I think she's probably going to get outranged, and I think she's probably just going to get out kickboxed. And then if you go to Mora's record, let's go look at that quickly. She has a lot of submissions as well. She's got 3 KO wins and 5 submissions. So, I think she can out kickbox her. And I also think, it goes to the mat, Ruiz will be in trouble. What side are you on here, Tim?
Yeah, I'm on Mora by finish. I was on Montserrat last time. I thought, you know what? She's had some nice time off. She fought a tough person in Amanda Lemos. And she came out and she did look tiny. She looked tiny, and she gassed, and it was not good. And she got the ground and pound and was out of there. And that was 2 months ago. So we know this turnaround time. Um, when you do that, your brain's not fully healed. You don't know where your cardio is. You haven't had time to work on not getting gassed, and you're going against a finisher. Um, Once again, this is a girl that came off the Contender Series, uh, Brazilian, up and comer, making her debut. I think this is going to be an easy finish. I'd probably go finish and under 2.5, no problem.
I like that a lot. I think Mora could make quick work of her too. It could be one of those weird, first round finishes sort of a deal where we don't see it very often in women's MMA. But I'm just really not a believer in Montserrat, and especially she's a 105er. It's pretty clear when she weighs in. She always weighs in way under, and it looks like she walks around at the weight that she weighs in at. She's never really ripped because she's just not at her weight class. But the UFC doesn't have a 105, so she's got to fight 115. So I think she's just going to be at a huge disadvantage here. Oh man.
Yeah, this is going to be a standalone bet. But yeah, it's going to be. I'm going to take Mora by finish.
I like it. This next one's interesting. We got that the UFC always likes to show that graphic of 10 plus years difference between, fighters. The younger fighter wins 60 or 70% of the time. We got Angela Overkill Hill with her almost even record. She was one loss away from being 14-14. So she's 15-13, and she is going to be 39 years old in a couple months versus Denise Gomez, who is going to be 24 in a couple months. So 39-year-old versus 24-year-old. Tim, you got any strong opinions here?
Yeah, so this is gonna be it for Angela Hill. This is gonna be the retirement fight. It's tough. I like Angela Hill. I'm personally a fan of hers. Um, we saw Mackenzie Dern just beat the brakes off of her in her stand up. And Mackenzie Dern is not a stand up fighter. So that was quite alarming that has lost that much of a step with her kickboxing or Muay Thai or whatever background she has. I believe, I want to say it might be Muay Thai. But the the thing here is Combs, she's got what? She's 8-2, right? She's got 6 knockouts and 2 decisions. So you're looking at a absolute hammer. And I don't know. And we saw her last time. We saw her just fight. And I think we were both like, "What the hell? This is amazing." When she fought Yasmin Jaraguia or
Yup.
something like that, her only loss within recently in her last 5 fights was Luke Boomy, and I think she's actually a decent fighter. So I can't hold that against her. Um, but this should be. I can't bet Angela. Hell, I would love for Angela to turn back the hands of time and make a legitimate run and kind of fight for it. But it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, you can't turn back the clock. So, and her stand up did not look good last fight.
Yeah. I'm not betting this fight, but I think I'm going to pick Angela Hill. And I've always been an Angela Hill hater. I've never really been a fan. I think she kind of gets the baby treatment from the commentators. It seems like, she's a friend of theirs. She sometimes helps out with commentary sort of things. So they're all like a huge fan of her. But it just, when they talk about her while she's fighting, they make it seem like she's beating the shit out of the opponent every single time. She's in these close losses, and everyone screams robbery because the commentary is like, look at that great jab from Angela Hill as she's getting countered with like a fucking overhand right with the power of Thanos behind it. And they say, great jab by Angela Hill. She stuck it out there, perfect timing, while she got clocked in the side of the head. Um, Except for that last fight. There was no getting around that last fight. They had to basically bite the bullet and be like, yeah, our girl's getting ran over here by Mackenzie Dern, which Mackenzie Dern's a dog, so, absolutely no shame there. But I'm just not sold on Denise Gomez here. And I know Angela Hill is a top 15 women's fighter for the strawweight division. She lost to Mackenzie Dern, who's a top 10 fighter. She beat Emily Ducote. She beat Lopita Godinez, who's actually pretty decent. She lost to Verna Jandiroba, who's a top 15. She lost to Amanda Lemos, who we just saw, survive 5 rounds with the champ. And Amanda Lemos only beat her by a split decision. Jandiroba beat her by decision. Mackenzie Dern beat her by decision. I don't know if Gomez can get her out of here. And if she can't get her out of here, I don't know if she can, sustain the pace over 15 minutes to win a decision. So for me, I think Angela Hill will be the decision, but get ready for who's ever in the commentary booth to, really, really talk about that very weak jab that Angela Hill keeps landing. Maybe if they say it loud enough, then the judges will hear it, because I don't know if the judges sit close to the commentary booth, but maybe they'll hear it, and maybe they'll score it for Angela Hill or something. But Gomez probably, she's an interesting prospect considering how many knockouts she has at 24 years old in the women's strawweight division. I'm interested to see where she goes. And this will be one of those fights where it's kind of get my mind right when it comes to betting Gomez moving forward. Because Angela Hill, the time's up. We don't have any more time to really bet her. Maybe we can fade her in the future. But Gomez, if she beats Angela Hill, or if she knocks out Angela Hill, she will be one of those that I'm going to want to ride moving forward because Amanda Lemos could not knock her out. Mackenzie Dern could not submit her or knock her out. Verna Jandiroba could not submit her or knock her out. So if Denise Gomez gets her out of there, then she'll be a name that I want to ride, whether it's parlays, whether it's, finishing props, whatever it is moving forward.
I'll be this bold to say I might sprinkle a little bit of her to knock out Angela Hill. Mackenzie, you got to remember, Mackenzie Dern had her rocked, but there was some kind of switch in her head where she didn't go in for the kill. She kept on trying to get the submission. If Mackenzie Dern stayed on her feet, he didn't try and just win by submission to, pad her submission stats because, you know, we all know how good she is at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
If she stuck with it, she could have got her out of there. 100%. So now you're taking a girl that is a stand-up hammer. I think she's gonna knock her out. I will definitely sprinkle Combs by KO TKO.
I'll be watching for it. Like I said, if she knocks her out, I'll be surprised and I'll be happy because they need a knockout artist at the strawweight division because they don't really have like a true knockout artist,
Yeah, and that chin's not getting any better as we approach 39 years old.
especially after that beatdown in that last fight.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
All right. This is uh the last part of my uh little four-piece Brazilian parlay to start the prelims. Vitor Petrino versus Modestas Bukauskas. Um, Gate, I'm gonna be on Petrino, as I said. This is gonna be the last little part of in parlay for me. You're looking at kid, 26 years old, undefeated, 9-0. A legit finisher. He looks really, really good. He's on 11 win streak, including amateur, two decision wins, six knockouts, and a sub. He This will be his third UFC fight, and he's already got a win over Turkali and Marcin Prachniow. So I'm gonna definitely go um, with Petrino here, but I think Modestos could possibly put up a better fight. I wasn't really impressed with his decision win over Zach Pauga, but he is riding a four-fight win streak. Granted, a couple of those um, more Cage Warriors, and then he's got a win over Tyson Pedro and that Zach Pauga. Um, decision, decision, and a KO. So he hasn't been on a finishing tear, but I have to just go with the Brazilian here, Petrino.
Yeah, so I kind of actually think Bukowskis is decent. Like, I think he's a better fighter than maybe we give him credit for, but I just don't think I can bet him here. Petrino is a physical specimen. The guy is absolutely juiced to the gills. He walks around like a boner, and you know if they have like the boner walk where it looks like they got 7 back surgeries, but they're 25, you know that they have a little bit of EPO up in their blood. Um, and
Oh yeah.
Petrino's one of those guys, man. He's got that. It looks like their back is like concave because they're so erect, but it works for him. And he probably should have finished all of his fights in the UFC. He probably should have finished Turkology, and he did finish Prachniow, but he probably should have finished him a lot sooner than he did. Um, I just think he's kind of a guy who's getting a lot better, and he's such an athletic freak that I think he can probably do whatever he wants with Bakauskas. But Bakauskas is actually decent. Like Bakauskas, that's a weird name to say. The more I say it, the more it kind of sounds funny in my mouth. But um, the guy's got skills. Like I watched his last fight against Pauga, and it was kind of just Pauga's fault that that fight was really boring. He just like grabbed him over and over and over and just stalled. Like he was literally just holding on to him. And Pauga is a big dude. He was a former heavyweight. He was an NFL player. He was just grabbing onto him and trying to hold him the entire time, not even really punching or anything. Bukowskis was trying to get
Yeah.
away and stuff. Before that, he beat Tyson Pedro, who Tyson Pedro, pretty decent. He's had some good wins, and then there were some Cage Warriors, like you said. But I don't know. I think Petrino is just that guy. I think he's just a Terminator. He reminds me of Gregory Rodriguez, the RoboCop, a little bit.
Yeah.
Where he's got the power on the feet, and then he also has the jiu-jitsu to back it up. So I'm going to go with Petrino here. And I actually think he probably gets a finish, and I think maybe it could be the first round if I had to get an exact round on it. I think he goes out there. I think Bukowskis is really willing to exchange punches, and I think Petrino just catches his chin early, puts him away.
Um, yeah, I'm not gonna go that crazy. Um, it's just gonna be a straight money line thing for me. But that's the whole thing. I can see Modestus kind of just trying to tie him up and just wear on him and get that control time. And you know how judging goes. So it could either lean heavy for the Brazilians, where he's just getting worked along the fence, and Petrino somehow still gets the win because there wasn't a lot of damage done, or Modestus just, like you said, kind of ties him up, holds him there, and he's got his back facing the center of the octagon, and he ends up getting the point. So I can see either way. So I'm just gonna take money line on Petrino in that parlay.
I like it. This next fight should be good. This is the one of the OGs, one of the guys who's been around a little while. Alessio Zaleski versus Renat Fakhretdinov. And Renat has been that guy lately. He's been taking out some good fighters. Kevin Lee obviously fucking sucks, but he took out Brian Battle. Michaelides, I guess Michaelides isn't really much. Eric Spicely was his last fight before the UFC. That's interesting. But yeah, Renat, I mean, took out Brian Battle and did it dominantly. And Brian Battle is a guy who, no slouch there. But Zaleski here, I mean, this guy is really, really underrated when it comes to MMA and just how well he's done over the years. Let's go look at a few of his wins. He's got a few big name wins here. So he beat Benoit Saint Denis. He beat Abukar
Yep.
Nurmagomedov. He lost to Li Jingliang. He beat Curtis Millender. He beat Sean Strickland. He beat Lyman Good. I mean, those aren't small wins. Those are decent wins. Sean Strickland's on there. But there's a little bit of an upward trajectory for Renat Fakhretdinov, and there's a little bit of an age downsided trajectory for Zaleski. So I'm going to pick Renat, but I'm not betting this. There's no way I'm touching this. I'm picking Renat, but it's in Brazil. Zaleski's Brazilian. He's a dog. We know he has that fight in him. We know that he has enough fight to beat the shit out of Benoit Saint Denis, beat Sean Strickland. That's enough for me to completely say plus 275 or whatever it is. That might be a little wide. Some people might feel like that's a good bet. I'm not gonna fade Renat, but I'm also not gonna pay the hefty price on Renat here. So I'll watch and see. Are you confident enough to take the dog shot here, Tim?
No, no, I'm not touching it. I'm with you. I'm gonna take Renat, but I am not. I'm not laying anything on it. Um, Depends on how the parlay goes. And a couple other things. I might sprinkle a little bit on Renat, but most likely not. This will be a good one just to watch because, like you said, this could be a little bit more competitive than we thought. Um, we'll see. I think it's gonna be Renat though. I think it's gonna be Renat and most likely a finish.
Yeah, dude, Renat I think is a part of that new generation, like the Shavkat Rakhmanovs of the world. I think he's. I mean, I could be very wrong, but I think he's all like among that breed where they're those European Russian wrestlers where they're just very very fucking good. I don't
Yeah,
know though.
I mean, you gotta remember he went in there and completely dismantled Kevin Lee.
Yeah. Yep.
Kevin Lee had to retire. He had to retire after that.
Yeah, he's
There's no
doing.
coming back from what happened to him. There was no coming back from that.
Do you know about Kevin Lee's brother Keith Lee?
I just know. I think Sean Strickland wants to beat him up or something like that.
Yeah, Sean Strickland wants to beat him up, and he's like super famous on TikTok. He does food reviews, and he's like one of the biggest
Oh,
TikTokers. Like I think he actually
oh,
might be the most famous person on that app.
you know what? I did see something. I actually saw something yesterday on it.
Yeah, dude. He goes around and he like actually makes businesses like $100,000. He'll be like, this place has really good food. Order them on DoorDash, and go in there, check out the food. And those businesses call him and be like, yeah, you made us like 50K in the next 2 months. Like, thank you so much, or like whatever it is. It's insane. Like he actually changes people's lives.
Yeah. Well, his brother sucks at fighting, so.
Yeah, Keith was a fighter too. He was in Bellator. I never even watched a single one of his fights, so not sure if he's any good or not.
And now he's doing TikTok. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is.
He probably makes 50 times as much money on TikTok. We should get on TikTok,
Yeah.
Tim. Start getting
Maybe you
famous.
could. That's for the young studs.
Yeah, the young studs. All right. This next one is Daniel Marcos versus Victor Hugo. And Hugo's image on Tapology looks like it's a selfie in his bedroom. And I think that kind of tells the story here. He's coming in. He was on the Contender Series. He won via knee bar. That was also 3 weeks ago. So I want you to think, very, very a little bit careful if you're looking to bet on this fight, because Hugo, 3 weeks ago, you don't know if you're getting a fighter who's fresh. You don't know if you're getting a fighter who's, completely just did a weight cut 3 weeks ago. Marcos, on the other hand, just lost to Davy Grant, but the judges gave him the win. I thought he obviously lost, but it is what it is. He's undefeated. He's a pretty decent favorite here. I think this is about as clean of a pass as possible. I think you just watch and you look at both these guys and you figure out which one of them's legit, and then you move on and you bet them on the next one or you fade them on the next one. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, yeah. Here's the thing. I got no action on this one because we haven't seen much of Hugo. We haven't. I mean, we have seen um Marcos. The big thing for me though was when he fought Davy Grant. Um, it went to a decision. Gravy Grant or Davy Grant is um fantastic at the stand up, and even though um technically I think Marcos lost too, I was very impressed that he could stay there for the full fight. And Marcos is a finisher as well. So this might be, even though this let's see. So Marcos is 30 and Hugo is 30 as well. But the amount of experience that Hugo has is almost double what Marcos has, which is a little bizarre. But seeing as Marcos is probably more of the hammer, I would lean towards Marcos to put Hugo out. Do you think that's crazy?
No, I don't think that's crazy because there's the Contender Series fade as well, which has been pretty lucrative. Is the guys that come off the Contender Series get knocked out or get finished in their first fight in the UFC. So I could definitely see that happening. And also, like you said, Marcos hung around with Davy Grant because as much as I thought Davy Grant won, I mean, it was still a decision. He didn't finish Marcos, so went to the judges' scorecard. Marcos had his moments. That says enough about who a fighter is. If you're hanging around with Davy Grant, you're gonna knock out these guys who aren't UFC caliber. So it just really depends on if Hugo is UFC caliber.
Well, let's put it this way: he definitely has more ways to win because if he's got the 24 wins and 4 losses, um, they're all pretty much even with knockouts, submissions, and decisions. Whereas you have Marcos is legit 8 knockouts and 7 decisions.
Yeah.
So if it goes to the and you gotta remember David Grant's a stand up guy. So if it goes down to the ground, I would give the advantage to Hugo. Oh boy.
Tough fight.
It is a tough fight. This might be something where if you want to hit Hugo by submission, I think you have a really good chance.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's got 8 knockouts, 9 submissions, and 7 decision wins. Um, I think he might be able to get this to the ground.
You know what you could
See, these are
bet?
the ones that are hard because just because one guy's undefeated, he's a knockout guy and decisions. When you have somebody that has most of their wins, even though they haven't been in the UFC yet, that are submission wins, and the other guy has not one submission win. You don't know how many times they've been put in a bad situation. Obviously, Hugo could take this fight any which way it goes and still make it competitive. Obviously, being 24-4, and just coming off of a knee bar win. I mean,
Yeah.
if he puts Marcos in a knee bar,
Yeah.
I mean that'll be the quickest tap you'll ever see.
Yeah, man. You could do. I was just thinking about this. You could do one of those. Have you seen on DraftKings the double chance? You could do Marcos by KO or Hugo by submission. You'd probably get pretty good plus money because I bet you they're probably favoring Marcos decision and Hugo, I don't know, decision probably. They're not favoring Hugo. He's the underdog. So it'll probably be Marcos decision will be what the bookmakers are thinking probably happens. So you could do that submission Hugo or Marcos knockout and probably get, plus 200, plus 250 on that, I bet. Maybe even better.
Yeah,
You might get plus 300 something.
yeah.
I might look at that. I might look into that. I'm
That's
really
what I'm
light on
saying.
this
This is
card.
yeah. There's nothing. Oh yeah, because I'm going full boat next week. So
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week. That shit is gonna be. Whew, I'm still deciding on the Aspinall Pavlovich fight. I haven't even come to a conclusion yet. Gotta watch a little bit of
that's
tape.
gonna be an easy one.
Yeah, it won't quite be as easy as Yuri knocking Alex out, but
I've seen him training. I'm getting real nervous.
yeah.
All right, so we got our boy Elves Brenner versus Anan Krzyzewski.
That's a name.
Um, yeah. So two Brazilian guys. One guy coming out of the shooter box with Diego Lima, which we all know. Um, some great fighters coming out of there. Most known for Charles Oliveira, but you see anybody that's Brazilian that comes out with that blonde hair is usually associated with the shooter box gym.
Yup.
I'm gonna ride with this one with my boy uh, Brenner. I rode with him last time. He was getting the absolute shit kicked out of him, and then he just turned it on and got me a nice dub. He was the dog in that fight. I didn't even see the odds for this one. To be honest with you, there's not even listed on DraftKings yet, so I don't know if something's up with it.
It was a late.
Um,
They just put in the guy with the KK name. They just, I think
uh,
yesterday he just got plugged in.
okay, so he's coming off of sub in um, contender series, and then before that he's been in the jungle fight. The jungle fight I take serious, but at the same time I'm gonna go with stepping up against Brenner. That is the shooter box guy. I can't, I can't fade him yet. 11 subs, two KOs and two decision wins and three decision losses. So he hasn't been finished, right? And you're going against Krzyzewski, 15-1, and he has nine submission wins, four KOs, and two wins. So it wouldn't surprise me if this goes to the stand up. And we just saw what happened with Elves when he got into the stand up. He got his ass whooped, and then he lands that shot, um, and it looked absolutely perfect. The only thing I worry about is Brenner getting cut because he was leaking and took a bad cut last fight. So we kind of got a little bit lucky, but I think the experience and the people that he's training with um, is going to be huge for him. So I'm all over Elves on this one. Um, I can see it going to a decision. So I'm just going to take the money line on it if it's decent, if it's close. Otherwise, I'll just be rooting for Elves on this.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this line opens. I haven't seen it anywhere because this KK guy, 15-1's a pretty good record. You look at his wins; they're not in shitty promotions. Let's just look at his last couple. Fought a guy 7-2 on the Contender Series. Fought a guy 5-1. Fought at 10-5. Fought 8-3. So these aren't the 2-2 guys that we look for as red flags on records. So he's fighting all right competition. I haven't even watched any of his fights, so I don't really feel comfortable, giving a strong opinion. But what I do know is I do know Brenner, and I do know Shoot to Box. Dogs, absolute dogs. We just saw one of them go toe to toe with Manel Cape a couple weeks ago or a month or two ago.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like Brenner's pretty good. I don't know much about this K guy. I pick Brenner, but like I said, I haven't watched any of this other guy's fights, so I don't really feel like my opinion is very very strong or anything. But I do like Brenner. I do like what he showed in that last fight. I do like the camp he comes out of. I like, his build for 155 is pretty solid. He's 26, still learning stuff. So I don't think you can go wrong with a guy like Brenner here. I'm interested. I'm interested to watch this fight though. See how that other guy shapes up because 15-1's pretty good record. So it'll be good to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a real good record. Um, and we'll see. Let's see what we got to see what the line opens up as. But as a fan, it's definitely Brenner for me. Brenner Oliveira. So when he comes out and he's got Oliveira on his shorts, that's his real
Fuck
last name. I
yeah.
have no idea why he goes by Elvis Brenner.
Remember when we called him Elvis
Elvis.
the first
Well, I
time we
thought they
saw him?
had that before.
Yeah, we called him Elvis for a while. All right.
Um, this one. This is a fun one for me. So we have Ismail Bonfim versus Vince from Hell Pichel. Um, all right. So Bonfim was on a run, on a tear. He did LFA, then he won Contender Series, and then he made his UFC debut and knocked out Terrence McKinney, and then got subbed by Benoit Saint Denis, which we did pretty well on that. I'm gonna go with the kid here, Bonfim. I think he's listen. He took that loss to Benoit Saint Denis, who we were on at the time. It was pretty much a good fight until it got and until Bonfim got choked out. But Pichal, man, he just lost to Mark Madsen a year and a half ago. Before that, he got a win over Austin Hubbard. Austin Hubbard, who just signed with the UFC, right? He won. Did he win Ultimate Fighter?
I think he got second. I think he
Uh,
lost to that
well, okay,
older
so
guy.
yeah, so he's back on his second run in the UFC because he's an old turd too.
Yep.
So 40 years old. No, it's not. This is a get back on track with the younger Bond theme. This isn't okay. Let's start taking out our younger competition because we want Michelle to come back in here and make a run at almost 41 years old. 41 when you're in the heavier weight classes, you're a little bit more sustainable. But fighting at 155 at 40 years old, almost 41 years old, that's crazy. And he trains at Big John McCarthy's Ultimate Training Academy. Listen, I love John, right? Pioneer, absolute pioneer. He's the man. I can't. This isn't a legitimate fight. This is a get on theme, on track fight, and that's what it's gonna be. In Brazil, with a Brazilian guy fighting on the card with his brother. Come on, this is gonna be a bomb theme parlay, and it's gonna be Vince Pichel taking the L here. Vince the L Pichel.
Oh, Vince the L. You would not say that to his face. With that mustache he's
Absolutely
got
no.
going on, you would not
I wouldn't
dare.
say it's any. I wouldn't say it's a Monster Ruiz's face, and she's 5 foot tall.
We saw what Pollyanna Viana did to that guy who tried to rob her. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is for me. This is just one of those bets that I have to make. It's the same thing as the Tim Elliott Muhammad Makayev, and here's the kind of deal with it. And first off, I'm gonna say the Muhammad Makayev fight. It hurt for fucking 3 days knowing that Tim Elliott was up 2 rounds and he decided to get choked out by being an idiot. He was an absolute fucking idiot in that grappling exchange to get choked out like that. I don't know what happened. He forgot that triangle chokes exist. Not triangle, arm triangles, sorry. He forgot that he had the cage right next to him. Props to Makayev. But here's the thing. When we see a prospect get exposed, which we saw Muhammad Makayev get exposed when he basically almost got his leg ripped off by some debutante and then got punched in the face by that same debutante and did not react well. You know, when we see them get exposed and then they put him up against a veteran in that next fight, and we see plus 400, plus 350 attached to that veteran, I'm just going to bet it because I've seen it happen too many times. I've seen Jim Millers beat stupid ass, prospects too many times. I've seen that exact situation too many times. So I bet Vince Pichel here, and it's not a big bet. It's very very small actually. It's 1/20th of the money that I had on Bobby Green when he fought what the fuck his name was, Grant the dumpy Dawson.
Grant Dawson.
Yeah. So it's not a very big bet here. It's pretty small, but it's just kind of one of my principles here is when someone gets exposed and then they take on a veteran, you bet against them when you get that plus 350, plus 400. And Bomb Theme got exposed, and we were on it heavy. I mean, me and you both had Benoit Saint Denis there because we knew who Benoit Saint Denis was. We knew what he was. We knew how badass he was. So I'm just interested. Honestly, if you put a gun to my head and said who wins this fight, I'd tell you Bonfim by knockout. But no gun to my head. Just looking at the price, I don't think Pichel is gonna look plus 350. I'd probably line this at Pichel plus 200 if I had the chance to be a bookmaker here. So I'll take Pichel with my bet, but again, it's literally just because of the line, just like Tim Elliott was last time we talked. So that's my thoughts here.
Now, not for nothing though, you have to understand as well that all of Bonfim's losses were submissions, right? His four losses were subs.
Yeah, he's a striker.
Uh, yeah, but Pashal does not have one submission win. So keep that in mind.
He's gonna punch his face
Are
off.
you? Okay, well, I'm just letting you know because the way the way to get it done is gonna be submission if Pashal wants to win. I think.
When you got a mustache like that, you can do whatever you want, Tim.
Well, maybe he'll grab onto it and choke him out with.
He grabs his mustache and it comes off. It's been a prop the entire
Oh,
time. All right.
maybe. Maybe. This is a good one. This is a fight I'm actually excited to see.
Me too.
We have Rodolfo Vieira versus Armin Petrosian. So Petrosian um, turned it around after his loss to Kyle Barala. Um, I was I'm very high on Barala. I think he's fantastic. So that loss isn't that to me. Rodolfo Vieira, his losses to Chris Curtis kind of bothered me. And when he got subbed by Anthony Hernandez, that crushed me. But those are his two losses. If this comes down to if it goes to the ground, I'm gonna be all over Vieira, and I think that's the way for him to win. It's a lot of the stand up experience, um, and needs to understand that and just dominate position. Petrosian, he kind of he went the full decision to the full fight with Baralo, but he's kind of a decision guy. He hasn't gotten a finish since he was on the Contender Series 2 years ago. Um, and you know, Rodolfo just came off of a nice arm triangle choke over Cody Brownage and looked really, really well. And this is a pretty. This is what an even fight. Something like
Yeah.
this, I would go Vieira by sub. I think he is just the better athlete. And if it was just jujitsu, it would be Vieira by a mile. Um, I think it's going to be the easiest path to victory for Rodolfo Vieira is to win by sub, and that's how he's gotten all of his wins in the UFC. So if he wants to win again, I think that's what he's gonna have to do.
Yeah. Just to start off, Rodolfo Vieira is one of the best BJJ practitioners ever in the UFC. Um, and that's not even really into question. You go to his competition wins and stuff. There's not really anyone like Mackenzie Dern and Rodolfo Vieira. Those are the guys that are on that level of BJJ. Gilbert Burns maybe as well, but outside of that, there's nobody with the same amount of you know world championships, national championships as Rodolfo Vieira. Um, but with that said, like the guy's kind of been a little bit underwhelming in the UFC. I do think his nickname is pretty fucking sick. The Black Belt Hunter. Um, he
Oh
had a
yeah,
lot of he had a lot of like mental issues after that first fight where he got choked out by Fluffy Hernandez. Which, by the way, Fluffy Hernandez is a dog. The guy's a fucking beast. But
yeah,
Vieira, he said he had to like overcome like a bunch of stuff in his head. He said he had like intense performance anxiety and stage fright and all this stuff. And you can kind of see it when he talks in his interviews. He's kind of like scared and and a little bit tentative. But here in this fight, Petrosian has nothing on the ground. Like Petrosian on the ground is a fish out of water. Um, and Vieira's losses are to pretty decent guys. Like Chris Curtis, I know he's not a world beater, but he probably beats Armin Petrosian. Fluffy Hernandez probably beats Armin Petrosian. So Vieira's at least not losing to guys that are scrubs. His wins, Cody Brundage. I mean, everyone and their mom has a win over Cody Brundage by now. I mean, I should fucking get a debut in the UFC against Cody Brundage. See if I can get a win there too, because it feels like every
Come
one
on, man. Come on.
185er we see has a win over Cody Brundage somehow. Dustin Stolfus, fine. I mean, that's a decent win. This guy I've never heard of. Sparbeg Safarov, never heard of, but I think Vieira probably gets him to the mat, and I think he probably puts him away. I think he submits him. I don't think it's
Yeah,
really
you
gonna
know
be close.
he'll go for those chain takedowns. That's what I think. That's what you're gonna see from him.
Yeah, and then straight into I bet you like a arm triangle or a rear naked. He's a strangler. He's not really like a armbar guy, or at least when he's come to the UFC, he's not really been a an extremity chaser. He's more of a strangler. So I see him choking him out. I see it. I don't see Petrosian having much for him on the mat. Like we saw Petrosian survive against Baralho, but we also have seen Baralho be very, very, I guess, content with just sitting on top, like being in control. We've seen that multiple times against guys who are not very good grapplers. Vieira's different. He's not content controlling on the ground. He's content only when he wraps his arm around your neck. And so I think he's gonna get the choke here, and I think he's gonna chase it. Um, and I think he gets it. I really think he probably puts him away here in
Yeah,
Brazil too.
I'm yeah, I'm pretty confident with Vieira by sub.
You know what they should have done, man? They should have done Baralho versus Vieira in Abbas Magomedov versus Armin Petrosian. They should have given
No,
us
nobody
the
wants to
two
watch.
grapplers versus each other, because I would love to watch Baralho versus Rodolfo Vieira. That would be a fucking treat.
Would be, but not right now.
Yeah, the UFC doesn't want that.
Not right. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, Baral is so promising, and
And Vieira's like his kryptonite, dude. He's like the perfect fighter to beat him and then never win another UFC fight.
you know exactly, exactly.
It'd be like,
Speaking of,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say. So speaking of Baral, he's the next one on this card.
Yup. Against the boy that I made so much money on. Remember when Sean Strickland
Oops.
was fucking an underdog against this guy?
Yeah. Well, I also was. I could see it. I could see them trying to get rid of Sean Strickland. Obviously, that is Sean Strickland is the current champ. Um, but yeah, I mean,
We both were on
Sean.
Strickland there, weren't we? I think we were.
Yeah, I ended up taking Strickland, but when we were discussing it, I wasn't sure how the UFC felt about, if they were setting Sean up, because when this guy, Abu Spot Dustin Stolfus, he got him look out of there quick. And he was on a
Yeah.
nice little run, um, from the UFC to KSW to whatever, Eastern Siberia shit he was in before. Um, but yeah, he gassed the fuck out in the first round, and Sean put it on him and got the finish. I think you're gonna see pretty much the same thing here. He's gonna try and put it on Baralo. Baralo's gonna probably weather the storm and then just dog walk him for the next two next two rounds. And it wouldn't surprise me if Kyle ends up getting a nice little finish in here. Probably, Probably a sub for Kyle. Um, he has taken a couple decisions lately. He does have the sub over boy Mikey Olex Jacek.
Don't say
Um,
that. Mikey O's my boy.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, he took the L. Um, but he looked really good on a contender series, and he's been constantly winning. And now we're looking at it's been 2 years, so he's developing. Even though he's 30 years old, he's in the 185s, right? So he's in middleweight. He's developing. He's looking better and better. He's patient. Um, Sometimes he might be a little too patient, but now I think they know that they can kind of push the pace a little bit, and now that he's at that next step. I like Barala here. I like Barala here by submission. This could be a Brazilian submission parlay. Vieira and Barala both by sub. Or if you're not 100% sure, um, by finish both of them.
Yeah. I got a lot of stuff to say about this fight, and not really any of it is going to be particularly good, and not really any of it is going to be particularly nice either. First thing is Baralho's tattoos are fucking awful. Like I mean, I'm staring
Yeah,
at them. Those are just really bad. Free spirit on your
free
neck
spirit.
in like a
Yeah,
terrible font. I don't really love that. Second thing, this is just kind of weird, but you were saying Kyle, and it sounds like Kyle, Kyle.
that's what.
It's like
Yeah,
the
that's what it is.
Brazilian
Kyle.
Kyle, dude, but it's
Yeah,
Kyle. Um, and the other
yeah.
thing is, I could understand why Bobby Green was such a big underdog against, Grant Dawson. But I could not understand for the life of me why this Abbas Magomedov was evens against Sean Strickland. And I was actually so confused on why he was an even on the bookmaking that I was almost not going to bet it because I thought, DraftKings might know something I don't know here. Maybe they know something I don't, and maybe I'm wrong because I thought Strickland should have been like minus 300 there. Um, and the last thing I got to say is a bus. It wasn't even that he lost; it was that he fucking quit. Everyone gets
Dude.
tired in the UFC, dude. Like everybody gets tired. There's not a guy on the roster, even the guys like Marab who have, the cardio of a guy who's been doing steroids for his entire life. The guys like Max Holloway who have the cardio of something completely out of this world. They're tired in there. They're just not willing to show it. They're not going to physically break. But a bus, dude, I mean, he got a little gassed and he just decided it was time to quit. He stopped looking at Sean Strickland. Bro, he was looking to the side. He was literally like looking down at the ground because he just didn't want to be there anymore. And I can never bet a guy who's looking at the ground. But I mean, nonetheless, I watched that
Oh,
entire fight 3 times this week because I was like debating if I was gonna bet Abus Magomedov, which I came to the conclusion there's no fucking way I'm ever betting him. But he has really good kicks, and his striking is actually really snappy. I mean, I can't bet a quitter. I can't bet a guy who, as soon as he gets a little bit tired, decides that he's not in a fight anymore. And Baralho here is a dog, so it's going to be Baralho. I bet this one probably goes longer. I bet he takes him to decision because Baralho is a little bit more comfortable going to decisions. But yeah, I think Baralho's the side here easily.
Yeah, I mean, you're only as good as your your last fight. And remember, he was in, when he was in the PFL, he got before he got his ass whooped by Sean, he got a brutal KO in the PFL,
Yeah.
and that's what I was concerned about. But I was like, you know what, he's turning around, he's getting some finishes, and then his UFC debut, he had that really fast, quick finish. Um, but if he went that hard in the first round. of a 5 round fight, I can only imagine how hard he's going to try and go in the first round of a 3 round fight. He might be gassed by 2.5 minutes into the first round. So I can't. Yeah, um, they're not doing him any favors by giving him Kyle here.
No, he's getting taken down and he's getting laid on top of. I bet you that's the only reason that he survives is because Barajo takes him down. Because if a bus was on his feet for the entire first round, he'd just kick himself out again like he did against Sean. But Kyle's probably going to take him down, and a bus is probably not going to have those large movements with the kicks and all that shit. So he's probably going to be able to conserve his tank a little bit more. But I mean, if Barajo for some reason either can't get him down early or decides to not try to take him down early, then a bus, yeah, I mean, he's got a puncher's shot here. He's got some really, really good head kicks. He's got some really, really good straights down the pipe. So he'll have a puncher's chance. I don't really see it.
Yeah.
Oh man, the big boys. Oh boy, man, this is oh shit. This is not who I thought it was. Rodrigo Nascimento. Who did I think this was?
Which is
Oh, I thought this was
Dontel.
Delima or whatever. Whatever.
Oh no, no, Rodrigo Nascimento versus Dontel Mays. Um, this one, I honestly, I'm gonna root for uh, a hometown guy for us, which would be Dontel Mays. Um,
He's from up in your neck of the woods.
no, he's from the United States.
Oh, that's not fucking hometown. That's just patriotic. You're just being
That's
patriotic here.
home of the brave, right? Home
Home
of the
of the
brave,
brave.
hometown guy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this kid. Listen, uh, even though Rodrigo Nascimento is he's 10-1, he's won 3 out of his last five, but his last five goes back to 3.5 years ago. And that's where he subbed Dontel Mays. Was his last of the five fights. Going back most recently. Um, he's got a loss to Chris Daukus, who is absolutely horseshit. Um, so that doesn't impress me.
That's a
That he
hometown
got beat
guy
by
though,
a
Tim.
stud. So I'm saying guy too. He got a standing TKO, but went to a draw. Um, because it must have been something with some kind of somebody tested or a foul or something.
It was
He's
probably
got a
Nascimento
split.
tested.
Yeah, and he's got a split win over Tanner Bowser and Ilir Latifi. Ilir Latifi, how old is Ilir Latifi now?
Like 60.
Just out of yeah. And then you got Dontel Mays, who's got a win over Andrei Arlovsky, who's 110, 4 months ago, which was a good name, but this isn't Andrei Arlovsky, 15 years ago.
Bro,
And he's got a
I'm
loss to
I mean,
Augusta Sakai. Sakai, I get it. Okay, that's not as bad as Chris Dawkins. Um, he's got a split decision here against Hamdi Abdullah.
Hamdi
Josh Parisian,
Amdepilawab.
yeah, Josh Parisian win, right? That's a nice knockout, and then a Martinez decision. So nothing impressive on either one of these guys. So I really don't care. I would like to just go see a slugfest and hopefully somebody gets a nice win here. But there's nothing nothing for me on this one. I honestly I could care less. I go get run out to the store and get a 7-Eleven glizzy and a Slurpee and then come back home and get ready for the co-main.
Y'all got 7-Elevens out there?
Of course we do. This is New England. What are you talking about?
Damn, dude. I thought 7-Eleven was a
Isn't
Western thing.
No, they don't have 7-Elevens in the middle of the country.
Nah, dude. We got Casey's. Casey's ran 7-Eleven out of this Flyover country does not have 7-Elevens. That's the one thing I do like is when I go out to like Colorado and shit, they got 7-Elevens on like every corner.
Yeah, I just like their drink selections, to be honest with you.
Me too. I like 7-Eleven's drink selections, and I don't know. They got good donuts too. I fuck with those. Um, Dude, this fight, yeah. I mean, you kind of covered it. This fight is dog poop. I don't know why it's so high up on this card. I mean, Andrei Arlovsky was like around when he probably put a stone on the pyramids back in the day, dude. I mean, I don't know how long he's been alive. I don't know, what he's seen in his 80 fights. Legend of the sport, but still, I mean, he's been around forever. Dontel May's got a win over him, and at this point, it's like, cool. I guess you beat the fading ghost of Andrei Arlovsky. And Nascimento, I mean, I've always thought the dude just kind of sucks ass. I tried to fade him against Latifi, and then it was a split decision. You go to a split decision with Latifi, who kind of sucks. You also go to a split decision with Tanner Boser, who kind of sucks. Like, I just have no interest in betting this at all. Dontel Mays trains with John Jones, every day. I think he was the guy who actually, injured John Jones, so he had to.
No, no, no. That's no. He's another one. No, he's another one.
It's a different
That trains
guy.
with John
Is
Jones.
it Maurice
Yeah, trains
Green?
with John Jones. Maurice Green, and he gets fucking flatlined every time he fights. So that's like me saying I train with John Jones and then trying to go fight one of these fucking guys. Just getting flatlined every
Dude,
single time. Maurice Green is terrible, and he
yeah.
tore John Jones back off the bone.
Yeah, because
What a
John
dick.
Jones trained with Maurice Green, Jorgen De Castro, and Dontel Mays, and they all fucking suck. So it just goes to show how much of an
That
athletic freak John Jones is. He's training with these dog poop opponents, but still, somehow being the goat that he is. Yeah, this fight, I mean, I feel like we just ought to get past this one. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. But if I have to pick, I'm gonna be cheering for, as Tim said, the hometown guy, Dontel Mays, just because I think Nascimento kind of sucks, and I hope he loses. And it'd be really funny if he just like got flatlined in Brazil, which kind of rude to say, but still, I think it'd be kind of funny. This fight, though, dude, I'm psyched about this one. This next fight, Gabriel Bonfim. Let me X out of this ad quick. Gabriel Bonfim versus Nicholas Dalby. And here's the crazy part about this fight. Everyone is writing off Nicholas Dalby, but this guy just got a win over Muslim Salikov, who's not bad. I mean, we go to Muslim Salikov's record. Let's go look at that real quick. Muslim Salikov, guy came off of wins over Fialho, Trinaldo, Zaleski, Staropoli. The guy's doing all right around. And then we go back to his last win, Warley Alves. The guy's on a losing streak, but before that, he beat Sergio Morales and Munir Lazez. This guy has a win over D-Rod. This guy had a win over D-Rod, Alex Oliveira, this Nicholas Dalby guy. With that said, I'm picking Bonfim, doing the switch up here. I don't really see a path to victory for Dalby. I think Bonfim fishes a choke early, and I really think Bonfim is, the future. I'm a big fan of this guy. I'm a big fan of his grappling. We talk, sometimes during BJJ class, we talk a guy who's a shark, a guy who he's going out there and he's just going hard and he's going as fast as possible, and his technique is usually pretty good, and usually he gets you the fuck out of there pretty damn fast. That's Bonfim. He's not messing around. He's taking you down, and he's gonna finish you fairly quickly. And I think he does that to Dalby. Dalby's 38, almost 39. And I think Bonfim is the truth. I think the guy's legit. He's not like his brother. I think is a little bit reliant on flashy striking. Bonfim, this Bonfim, Gabriel, complete opposite. He has no reliance on flashy striking. He can strike. We've seen him strike. He's technical, but when he gets to the mat, that's where it's just his world. So I think he takes Dalby down. I think he controls him a minute or two. And I think he fishes a submission. And I would not be surprised to see Dalby get first round submitted here. I want to see Bonfim dragged into deep waters eventually. I'd really love to see, Bonfim see a third round, see a decision, just to see what he's got in the tank, see where his resolve is at once we get to that third round. I just don't think this is the guy. I don't think Dalby is that guy who's going to take us to that decision. So Bonfim for me, and I think it's going to be Bonfim by submission and Bonfim by submission early.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Listen, I like Dolby. I believe he's the one that sounds like he's hyperventilating and he's completely gasped, but that's just how he breathes.
Yep, it's
Um,
like Duplessis or whatever.
yeah. So I'm with you with Bonfim. Um, this is gonna be a big. First of all, I think Gabriel Bonfim is the better brother. So I'm gonna go with him. I think he's gonna get further. You're just looking at the age. You're looking at another 39-year-old. You're getting up there, and granted, this isn't a 205er at 38 or 185er. He's 170. So there's not much off between Dalby and Pichel when it comes to weights and ages. Um, but I do think Bonfim is going to be too much. And once again, like I said, Brazil. This is going to be a showcase for Brazil and the Bonfim brothers. So I'm gonna go right with you on Gabriel Bonfim, and it wouldn't surprise me if he gets a finish by sub.
Cool. I think we're on the same page there. Him by sub is plus 100 as well, and I think it's a doable line. Usually, I would not pay, plus 100 or whatever it is. Usually, if I'm looking for a sub bet, I'm looking for plus 300 or better. But when it's these kind of guys and they're minus 600 favorites and they always fish for submissions, I'd be comfortable with plus 100 on Bonfim by sub.
Yeah. So, so here you know, this is the stuff that kills me. We get this main event, which everybody's excited for. I'm excited for it. I know you're excited for it, but I feel like this could just be summed up like, say, in a minute. Like, for example, Derek Lewis knocks him out in the first round, or Derek Lewis gets submitted in the first round. What I mean, I don't know. I don't know
I mean, that's
what
about
else.
it.
I mean, Almeida is so fantastic on the ground. He's an all-around great fighter. He does have the stand-up, but his bread and butter is getting to the ground. If we want to get a little crazy, um, I don't know if I don't know if his grappling could hold Derek Lewis down because Derek Lewis has that ability just to get up. But even though I just said that, Sergey Spivak laid on him and got him in an arm triangle choke. So if Spivak could do that, Almeida will have no problem whatsoever doing the same thing. The only thing that I'm looking at here is that dart throw a couple bucks on Lewis by KO because that can happen at any point in time, and we played that last time. And what did he do? He opened up with a flying knee and ground and pound over Rodrigo de Lima or Rogerio de Lima. So
Yep.
that's the possibility. This you're not gonna get money on Almeida by finish. It's gonna have to come in the form of Derek Lewis by KO.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
we
that's the only way. That's the only way.
we hammered
What did they have? I'm gonna check right now because I'm curious.
him
But do
by
you see?
knockout. I see it as
No.
uh, plus 400.
For Derek Lewis by knockout, right? And then what about Almeida by submission?
Minus 125.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not to me. There's no um, nothing really in it for me. So Almeida to win by submission minus 125. Lewis to win by KO plus 450. Um, yeah, even if you go double chance for Almeida, which might to win by KO or submission, Almeida's minus 450. So
Yeah.
there's it's the money. The smart play is going to be um, Lewis by KO. That's you throw a couple bucks on it because the at plus 450, why not? You
Yeah.
know, and Lewis has the power to do. It. And we don't know. We haven't seen Almeida in a pressure fight against a real big name, and now he's I mean Rosenstruck, but um, not somebody that has the fan base as Derek Lewis, and he's in Brazil, and he's a headliner, and we don't know how he's gonna react. So I'm kind of excited for this fight, but I think it's gonna be quick. I think it's gonna be real quick, um, and we'll see how the weigh-in's going, because you're looking at possibly a a 35-pound weight difference here in favor of Derek Lewis. So we shall see, but unfortunately, there's no technical side to the Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis is either going to knock you out or get finished.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I have a different opinion than you on this fight.
Really?
Yeah, I think the best bet on this entire card is Almeida by sub minus 120. I got it at minus 120. Now it's minus 125. So it moved wherever that is, but I think Almeida takes him down, and on the first takedown, I think he submits him. And I think if he doesn't submit him on the first takedown, he gets him down a second time and he submits him on the second time. I just don't see how Derek Lewis does not roll into a submission, because when Derek Lewis grapples, he has no regard for jiu-jitsu. Like Derek Lewis, he said it. He literally says jiu-jitsu isn't real, I just get up. It just doesn't work for him. Like the only time it ever worked for him was against a middling opponent, and then he went against Sergey Spivak and he got submitted the
Yeah.
first time he tried to get up. And Jalton Almeida, to me, is a different level than Spivak. Spivak is like a power wrestler brute, when Almeida is actually a technician. There's not another technician like him in the heavyweight division. There's not another guy with the jiu-jitsu like him in the heavyweight division. We see him take guys down. Let's just go through his record quick. So he took down Rosenstruck, choked him out quick. Took down Shamil, ground and pounded him quick. Took down Durkology, submitted him. Parker Porter submitted him. Danilo Marquez submitted him. All of these have just been where he takes them down. He gets complete technical control over them. And when you have someone on top of you who's completely controlling you like that, you feel like you're getting drowned. That's why Khabib always said, I'm going to take you to the ocean. I'm going to take you to dark waters or deep waters. It's because you actually feel like you're drowning when you have somebody on top of you like that. And I don't think Derek Lewis has any technical idea. I think Derek Lewis was about to get cut from the UFC, got that win, and then now he has this 8-fight contract or something crazy like that. And now what is Derek Lewis going to do? He's going to take as many fights as he can, because he's going to be making $500,000 a fight. You know, they paid him because the dude's hilarious. I love the guy. I love him as a fan. He's one of my favorites. We bet on him in that last fight, and then he came out, he produced, and then he said his funny shtick. And he's just awesome. He's just a great guy. He's a great guy on the microphone, but he's not a championship level fighter. And Almeida is everything that a championship fighter is supposed to be. This guy is fucking special. There's no one like him in the heavyweight division, and I don't think there's anyone like him in the history of the heavyweight division. I don't say that lightly either. There's never been a guy who has technical jiu-jitsu skills like Almeida. Like he has the level of jiu-jitsu, of somebody like Mackenzie Dern, even though Almeida doesn't have the trophies, the medals, all that sort of stuff, the wins, the world championships, but he grapples like he does, and part of that is because heavyweights are very easy to grapple. You cut down a big tree, it falls over, and it's hard for it to get back up. And he just floats on top of them, and he just smothers them. They can't get up. It takes a lot of cardio to get back up from when you're taken down as a heavyweight, and they can't do it. And the thing about him too that's really really impressive is he's not the grappler that we normally see at heavyweight. So we see the Curtis Blades at heavyweight. We see the Sergey Spivaks at heavyweight. We see the Alexander Romanovs at heavyweight, where they use these large movements to grapple. They use these large movements of bull rushing you or using a lot of strength. He uses technique to take these guys down. He double legs them, cuts the corner, and uses their own momentum against them. So he hardly has to lift a finger to take these guys down. I think Derek Lewis is going to get caught in a double leg within the first fucking 30 seconds of this fight, ends up on his back, and I think he realizes he's going to make $500,000 no matter what, and he still has 7 fights left on his contract. So what's Derek Lewis going to do? He's going to lay there, and he's going to get submitted, and he's going to go home happy to his red Lamborghini that he drives 90 miles per hour over the speed limit in his big house in Texas, and he's going to get another fight lined up where he's going to make another $500,000, and he's going to get another 6 of those, and then he's just going to go off and ride into the sunset and live a great life and be very, very happy. But this is just not the one for Derek Lewis, in my opinion. So that minus 120, I bet it. It's my big bet of the card. I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it. And it's still not very big, It's not big compared to what I'm going to have on Diego Lopez in the next few weeks or what I had on Bobby Green or anything like that. But for this card,
So why
it's
don't
my
you
favorite
just
bet.
go? Why don't you just go? Why don't you just go take the first round sub for plus 100?
Because I'm scared it's for plus the difference between plus 100 and minus 120, it's too scary for me. Like I'd rather have him by sub and then have the chance that he gets into the second round and subs him or something. The plus 100, I was looking at it. I was tempted on it. And then I was like, it's a little bit, only those 20 points or whatever it is difference between it. It kept me on just the sub. I was also tempted to put a little bit on the double chance, which is Almeida by sub and then Derek Lewis by knockout. Let me go look. I believe that was a little bit juiced though. Let me go look quick just to make
Here's
sure.
the thing: you got to remember too is like you said with the bull rush, like the Curtis Blades knockout was ferocious,
Yeah.
and if Almeida isn't super slick, it could be lights out.
Mhm. Yeah, Lewis has he just has to touch you. He doesn't really have to he doesn't have to land a power shot. He just has the power in his hands that if he just touches you with even like the edge of his punch, lights out for you. This will be a good fight though. I'm excited. I think like you said, it's going to be first round. Someone's going to sleep and it's either, one by sub and one by knockout.
Yeah, to me it's a crazy fight. I mean, it's entertaining. It's gonna be one of those. Just it's gonna be quick, I think.
Yeah,
If
I
let's put it
agree.
this way, if Derek Lewis takes Almeida to a decision and it goes either which way, I will be very impressed with Derek Lewis.
Dude, if this goes into the third round, I'd be very impressed with Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
I don't see. I mean, if this goes to decision, that would be one of the crazier things. Because right now, the over 1.5 is plus 300. Let me check on the odds for goes to decision just to see what this is. Yeah, bro. Fight goes the distance is plus 1100. Imagine that hits. Imagine these two just have a sloppy striking battle for 5 rounds.
Yeah,
How crazy would that be?
I can see it, but Derek's all gas, no brake.
Yeah, he is. He proved that this week. I can't believe he got out of jail, man. Thought they'd keep you for being 90 over.
Yeah. Well, he's also well, he also said it wasn't him. I don't know if you saw that. He said
That
that
was
dude got
funny,
hair.
bro. That was
I don't know
funny, dude.
who that was. So um, they probably said, Derek, you can't be doing this shit. He's gonna donate to the community, and then he'll pay his fine, and he'll go on his way. It's hard. How you know what I mean? When you arrest Derek Lewis, everybody knows who he is. He's a huge local guy, so it's kind of like shit. Come on, Derek, what are you doing?
Yeah,
So
bro. If I could have dinner with one UFC fighter, I think it'd be Derek Lewis. Imagine how fun that would be.
Do you think he'd wear pants?
I hope not. I hope he doesn't.
Well, then that'd be a good night for you.
Yeah, dude, I want to see his anaconda.
Oh God. Oh man.
Anyways,
So I
uh,
think I think it should be an okay card. It's getting us primed for the next card, which will be real amped up on. That's going to be a espresso macchiato. Um, who knows what else? Americana
maybe a
um,
chai, dude.
card. Yeah, a dirty chai from my boy Cheeto.
What's the difference between a normal chai and a dirty chai?
Dirty chai has a shot of espresso in it.
Ooh, I fuck with that. I had a chai last week. It's pretty good. I'm gonna have to
Oh
do
yeah,
it dirty next time.
I thought you didn't like the chais. You made fun of me last time.
I did make fun of you, but that's just because I felt like making fun of you.
Oh, okay,
I think it's
okay, for
because I had
sure.
a pumpkin and you told me I was a white lady or
Ah,
something.
yeah, that's what I said.
You
Yeah.
started it technically then.
Well, dirty chais or what's up?
I'll go for it.
Oh, all right. That was a good one. We get back on track with a little to wet our whistle for the big card coming up.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty solid. We got a lot of good prospects on this card to keep an eye on, but next week will be the big one. I mean, I'm just gonna go and I don't want to. We don't have to talk about nothing, but I'm just gonna go look at this card. Whew. Diego Lopez, baby. Let's go. We got Saint Denis. We got Jared Gordon, Mark Madsen. We got this Rebecca guy who's a dog. We got Sadikov versus Borshev. Man, and then we got those
Yeah,
top three, which everyone knows about. But good card. Gonna be great fights next
yeah.
week.
I'm really excited. Yeah, we're gonna have some good some coffee bets on that one for sure.
Yeah, dude, we'll have the main fight for sure, and then maybe
We might
some
have a
more.
couple because you know what I did? I canceled any of the coffee subscriptions that I had. I canceled them all. I'm like, shit, the fight's coming up. I'm not gonna need to buy coffee.
That's
So
what you think. I mean, Gus Edwards this weekend's getting me some coffee, so you better get over to Walmart and get me my Folgers.
yeah, possibly this weekend,
He's doing it.
but most likely, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Thanks, everyone.